Trading Club, and for people who are joining the very first time and who are watching me on YouTube, Trading Club is a weekly program which I conduct every Saturday between 7:30 to 9. So it may vary here and there. Maybe we do it for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, depending on the kind of interaction we have. So overall, the agenda of the day is going to be a couple of things. Number one, we have a knowledge session. There is going to be a knowledge session. Today's knowledge session, we had talked about rate hike and rate cuts last week. Today, I'll be talking in specific what exactly the Fed Reserve has said and what the other federal banks have been actually talking about this. What is that which can be expected in the market in the immediate term, short term, and medium term? So, how should we look at this and how it's going to impact the overall market? So, we'll actually talk in detail on that. So, we'll the Fed governor Powell has actually talked about and what he is trying to refer and what are the important factors which we need to look forward and how it's going to impact us on the overall scenario. The next thing is we will be talking on the Nifty and Bandwidth range. So what we are actually expecting in the next week. Okay, so we will talk on that. Then we will be talking on the multi-bagger stock. Stock which we will be talking today is going to be on the UPL. So I'll be telling you how it can be a multi-bagger, why it can be a multi-bagger, and what is the time frame you need to hold for, and what is that you can expect out of this stock, what price to enter, all those things we will talk in detail. And swing trades, we will be discussing in detail what stocks can be actually looked on for the swing trades. So these are the things which we will be talking today. So let's start this with the notion about Fed rate hike, what actually we have been discussed. Echo is there, is it? 1 second. Echo should not be there because we have been using a different system. Just a minute. You're still facing this echo, is it? Because echo should not come because of the new system which I have actually 1 second. Let me switch off and switch on this. Okay, are you people still facing echo or any other noise? It's still there? Is it better or you are still facing this challenge, guys? Slightly better? Okay, great. Okay, fine, guys. So let's get started. Today's session is going to be on the Fed rate hike. Now, what exactly is this Federal Reserve, and why actually when they are talking about this rate hike, why should market have any challenge, and what exactly did Powell say, and how it is going to affect, what was the expectation of the market? We will talk everything in detail. So to understand this, guys, see, like we have the RBI. You all of you know about the RBI, right? RBI is the government body which is responsible for printing notes. Along with that, they actually do a lot more things. It's not only printing of notes. Notes is not the only thing which the Reserve Bank of India does. Reserve Bank of India is going to take care of a lot more things, like they are responsible for controlling the inflation. They're responsible for looking forward for the economy, how the growth is going to happen. So the RBI is going to set aside a lot of rules for the bank so that banks are going to be efficiently functioning. So the efficiency of the banks are dependent on how strict RBI is going to control with their policies. Along with that, they also come out with a lot more things. They actually give guidance in terms of how the economy is doing. So they have their projection in terms of what GDP is going to be for the country in the financial year, and they also have the projections on how much will be the inflation. So inflation is the cost of living expense, the expense, the rate at which the cost of expenses are actually being increased. That is your inflation. And inflation being in control is very, very essential for the growth of the country. So what happens is inflation, when it becomes too high, then it is a big challenge, because when the inflation is too out of control, now what happens is the RBI tries to increase the interest rates. See, try to understand this, guys. Whenever there is a lot of when there is a the situation what you saw last year, especially because of this COVID, right? So there was a lot of uncertainty in the whole economy and the industries. A lot of companies were in the verge of collapsing, closing down, and other things. So unemployment was one of the major hassle which had to be addressed, and how they will be holding on. So for that, what the government and RBI came together, come out with couple of policies to ensure that they gave some amount of time, especially to pay the interest and all. They gave time, and on top of that, what has actually happened is they have also kept the interest rates at whatever it is. Earlier, they had actually even cut the interest rates also. If you have seen, I think last where during this period, they have actually cut the interest rates, especially during this COVID situation, to ensure that um, the because what happens is when such a big situation happens, now, what happens is when your cost of expenses are too high, companies, if they want to expand, they will try to cut down on their expenses. See, try to understand this. You want to construct a home. The home loan is expensive. Now, what you tend to do is you tend to postpone your construction decision, or the decision for you to buy a property or buy a home, because home loans are expensive. When home loans becomes more and more affordable, that is where more people are interested. Same thing is uh, in case of our auto loans, or the what do you say, the vehicle loans and all. When they become expensive, we try to postpone it because we don't have that necessity, we want to hold on to that. But when it becomes more cheaper, you will try to be interested in taking it. So what happens is whenever the interest rates are less, it is going to increase the demand. See, when the COVID situation is there, people are uncertain, and when they're uncertain, they don't want to unnecessarily spend money. They will be holding on to all the cash because they don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, right? So this is the time where generally interest rates are cut across the world. That rate cut has happened during this period, and a lot of actually the policy measures and all have been taken to ensure that the growth has to happen. Okay, during that period, they have not actually worried if the inflation is going to increase, because at that period the stimulus was required. Industries needed that breather space, because otherwise it was very difficult. And across the world this has happened. And in, see, we are still a developing nation. The developed nations like US and European countries, UK and other places, what happens is when they talk about the stimulus, see, here we are trying to give some tax concession and other things. So that's what we have been able to do it. But when it comes to US and the European markets, they literally go and print notes. Okay, because they are able to print notes, and they can actually manage the inflation and all in those countries were actually far below, somewhere close to zero. It was actually, inflation was almost nothing during that period. They wanted the inflation to increase to at least 2%. So that is what the Fed government and all the other countries had this intention, and they have printed notes like anything. And when they print notes, there is a lot of liquidity. See, in case of US and all, uh, the interest rates have been almost nearby to zero. So it means that you are getting money at negligible, hardly anything which is actually, there's nothing which is actually supposed to be paid to the bank. That kind of actually interest rates are going to help in increasing the capital expenditure, where what they call as capex, increasing the so what happens is a lot of companies have tried increasing their capacity, they have tried improving their production, and so many things have happened. And now what is happening is slowly growth has started happening. If you have been seeing the growth projection across the world, across all the industries, even the Fed, they have been telling the growth has been happening very good as per their expectation. Things are actually doing very good. The only biggest challenge which the entire world is facing is about the inflation. The cost at which inflation has shot up, especially in the last 1 or 2 months, has been extremely on the high side. And since the cost has shot up on a very high side, now every other central bank are saying last before the Fed policy was announced, even before that, Powell had made a statement saying that the inflation now is not transitory. Earlier, they were telling it is transitory. What they mean is it is not something which is going to stay. It might have come now, it will go off. That is what the expectation everybody had. So there was only a spike. See, sudden spikes will happen. If you look at in India also, let us log the food inflation has increased mainly the because of too much of rainfall which has happened recent past. The lot of actually food grains and vegetables, everything has actually got spoiled. And because of that, if you see, all those costs have actually also increased. So this is a temporary phenomenon because it is not something which is going to be there forever. But there are other things which have also shot up, especially the crude oil had shot up. Now they are actually coming back under control. But what happens is overall the data has been too high across the world. It is not only in India. Across the world, what has happened is inflation has shot up a lot. So everybody is actually planning for rate hike. So this is what even the RBI governor, if you have actually attended the press conference, what they said is they want to look forward and see interest rate hike may be happening, which they have also said that the interest rate hike will be happening. But what they are saying is currently they want to have a wait and watch situation because they also want to see what is going to happen with this Omicron variant, because they don't want to increase the interest rate and which is going to affect the industry. See, whenever the whenever the interest rate is high, industry should be able to absorb that. If it cannot absorb that, that is going to create a lot of abrupt things in the overall market. See, market always have no problem when things are certain, when they know what is going to happen. During the COVID situation, when it occurred, nobody knew how, what will be the economic impact of this. So there was a abrupt thing which happened, and lockdowns and all was something which nobody had experienced across the world. It is something which has happened for the very first time. So market was definitely nervous during that period. The correction has happened. Now, the situation, if you have seen, is completely different from what it was earlier to what it is now. If you see, when the COVID came, immediately there was no lockdown which was announced. Governments took time for this. See, November is where it started, and then slowly it started spreading. And main thing started, if you see, the February 15th onwards is where the correction started happening. And by April, there was a big correction which had happened. And if you look at that place, that is a time in the month of April where the announcement of the lockdown happened. So what you have to understand here is during that period, there was a big sell-off which had happened. And after the lockdown, if you see, price prices have started moving higher after that. And then actually all the stimulus and all other things came. And later, if you see, during that period when the lockdown had initiated in the first wave of COVID, during that period, there was no vaccine. Nobody knew what is going to be the economic impact and various other things. In India, we had the second wave, which was the Delta variant wave, and third wave, which was expected, did not happen. And even now, they are trying their best to control. And if you look at the kind of vaccination which has happened across India, especially, it's off to the government. They have done a commendable job. They have ensured that there has not been this third wave which has happened, and probably third wave may not happen also. And if you see in the first wave, they took a lot of time to impose this lockdown and all, and there was absolutely no vaccine, and nobody had any idea about how long it's going to stay and what is the impact and all. If you see right now, the situation is completely different for the Omicron and all. What actually people have been, the amount of scare, the amount of fear, what we see in the stock market has been extremely, the kind of way the projections have been happening in the media has been crazy. But if you actually look at that, we already have vaccine. And now most of the other vaccine players have already started saying that if you give the third dose, it is going to actually, you do even the Omicron actually also will be, we will be able to overtake that also. If you see that the vaccine manufacturers, now they are saying, most of the others are also saying within 1 month we will be able to bring this new vaccine for this new variant. So if you look at that, earlier we had no timeline, no idea how it is, what is the impact and all. Today, that is not the situation. And it took so much time for them to impose the lockdown during the first wave. Now, after the situation which happened in South Africa, if you see, immediately everybody has actually uh, ensured that the borders have been sealed, kind of thing. So today we have around 100 cases. For that, the hue and cry is so much. See, there was a time where we had close to, it was close to 1 lakh cases a day. Now this is 100 for this particular variant, but the expectation is this is going to spread a lot. That is the whole expectation. But at the same time, if you see, even all the news reports, everybody is saying no hospitalization itself is required for this particular thing. So the amount of hue and cry which is happening is too hyped. There is nothing which is there, number one. Second thing, let us come back to what we are talking about, this Fed and all, right? See, all the major economies, they will actually complete the announcements by Monday. See, only China is left out right now. We had the Fed, which actually clearly, see, Fed had told that they will have 3 rate hikes in 2022. The expectation was 2 rate hikes. Now there was one additional rate hike which has been announced. UK was supposed to not hike this time, was supposed to hike next time, but they have actually announced us a rate hike, which was not seen good by the market. So that is the reason, again, after that also we saw some amount of correction. Now Japan has actually kept the rates as it is. Now China probably can do a rate cut also. We don't know what is going to happen on China, which is going to be there on Monday. But overall thing, what is happening is after that, all the major economies have already told what is the situation, and everybody is planning to rate hike, including India. If you say RBI governor also said that he is going to make a rate hike. So it is very clear that everybody wants to do the rate hike. Now, at the same time, they are also concerned. One major concern is the inflation. Now, if the inflation starts coming under control, then they can also hold the interest rates. It's not necessary they have to hike, number one. Second thing, most important thing is about this, what they are actually looking at this Omicron, how it's going to have the impact and all. So they are actually having a concerns on that. That is anyway there. But even if you see after that also, if you look at the Fed, they have said that they are still not actually expecting any decline in the growth. Growth is as earlier as expected. It is still there. So you have to look at the entire thing. Just don't look at the rate hike and all. See, rate hike is there and it was also expected. It is not that it was not expected. See, if it was something which was unexpected, which happened in UK, that actually definitely made the markets again. See, it's more of a panic because rate hike, it's like lockdown. The word lockdown itself actually creates an impact, right? The same thing is this rate hike itself. That word, when you have heard, actually that is mainly because of that. Now, what I see is currently all these are already priced in. It is already priced in, guys. It is not that it is something new. The market knew about that the rate hike is going to come, and they are already prepared for this particular rate hike. Now, the only thing is market is still not showing that momentum. Probably from after tomorrow, all the major economies have given their clear clarity. Now, after that, we should start seeing if things are going to be fine. According to me, from here, just because of this rate hike happening, don't expect that the correction is going to come. The people are actually having this because they react on the news, but the news was already known. It surprise was this rate hike which happened in UK, and the expectation was for two rate hikes, which has been three in case of Fed, which they have announced, but still they have not said that immediately they are going to do. What they have said is still at least March, they are still continuing with their bond purchase program, which is a stimulus kind of thing. What they have said is after that, generally what used to happen is after the stimulus and all that has happened, they used to give a time of 6 months, 1 year kind of a thing before a rate hike would have happened. But now the inflation is not giving that comfort. But suppose inflation starts coming under control, a lot of places the inflation has been majorly because of the crude oil. And after, if you have been seeing from the last 1 month, after this Omicron thing and a lot have come, crude oil have started coming down. And if I have to see the charts, and so chart has become completely weak in case of crude oil. So crude oil, irrespective of what it is, whether the Omicron thing is creating a challenge or not, it is secondary. Crude oil prices are likely to go down. So which is very good, especially for the Indian markets, because we have huge consumption and we are a biggest importer of the crude oil. So overall, if I have to tell you guys about the rate hike, don't expect a new crash to happen. Probably again, market can open a little down. There can be little panic, but at this price level which is there, it is not a place where you to actually go on market. If I have to tell you about the range for Nifty and Bank Nifty for next week, so let me actually come back and actually show you what we had discussed last week and what is expected from this week and how are we looking at the market. See, let me show you this, whatever I had actually explained. My expectation was something, it did not happen. It's not necessary that every time you can be right. The expectation last week was this. Before last week and after that also, I've been telling for a very long time. When I did this, I had done a video for the Omicron also. I had told very clearly that, see here, okay, now I will tell Nifty is buy above this 1750. This is going to remain still the same. Okay, now the downside risk now will become 16,700. This is what I had told earlier also. Now also this is going to be the same. And currently, see, 17,300 itself is our major hurdle. So major actually this is definitely a major hurdle between 17,500 and 17,600. See, if we are able to sustain above this, market is going to go up like crazily high. But currently, looking at the way the market has behaved, 17,300, 350 itself will be the most important level for us. First important thing is until unless we don't sustain above, let me actually say, see below, let us actually buy only above 17,350. See, market definitely below 17,000 itself we will, okay, we can have this, and I can say confirmation is when we sustain 17,350. So this is something which you have to understand. See, below this, see, below 17,050, market is more likely to be sideways to negative. Okay. Once we are above 1750, still 17,300, 350, there is a possibility for us to go. But this place, we have to go ahead and move above this. Then only market can move higher. Otherwise, it is going to be more of sideways. If you see here, market is trying to take this support. This level is good buy area. It has given us support one time, two time. Now here I am expecting it for the third time also to give support. And this is an area which is very important area for the bulls to hold. So there is a possibility in intraday it may come down, but they need to hold it above 17,000 on the closing basis. See, 50 points here and there, you can still neglect 50, 100 points. But the overall, if they should not allow it to stay there. So see, one day it closes below 17,000. It doesn't mean that it's going to go down from here. Most important thing, it should not there. It is not that it will not go down, but the most important thing, the bulls have to ensure that they hold this level and take the prices higher. This is the most important thing when it comes to Nifty. And it has to happen with Nifty, and Bank Nifty is right now has become very weak. We have gone below 200 DMA, which is actually not good. Okay, so Bank Nifty for us, very important is this should become a double bottom, and we should actually have a reversal, then only it makes sense. Otherwise, see, it is right now we are trading below the 200 DMA, which is not good. But overall, this is definitely a place from where the reversal is possible. This is where it has, see, from here, it has moved almost up to 37,000, which is roughly around 1,500 plus points. It has actually moved up. So this is mainly the short covering which had happened earlier. Now this some amount of longs were happening, long unwinding has happened. Now very important is from here the buying has to happen. So bulls have to come out more aggressively right now. That is very important. Till they don't come aggressively, market will be very, very sideways. So here what I have to tell you is it is going to be buy only above this 36,500. This is the same thing. See, it is not going to change. The downside risk I was expecting 36,000, but now I have to revise this to probably 35,000. Okay. And sorry. 35,000. See, currently this itself is a major hurdle. See, okay, let me actually, instead of 36,500, it is, see, currently our 200 DMA is somewhere around 36,700. Let's say 36,000, sorry, 35,800. We have to be trading above this. We have to hold this and sustain, then only buying is going to come, because the 200 DMA above that we have to see, we have closed below 200 DMA, which is not good. We have to actually sustain above this level. This is very important. Below that, it is going to be sideways to negative only. So the major hurdle currently is going to be 36,500. So here we need to sustain, and then only we will be able to see. So currently I am seeing this probably between 37,000, sorry, 35,000 to. So this is what I'm expecting from this week. So let us see, because this has moved down. The correction, the amount of correction which has happened is extremely on the high side. So I expect this to hold on. So let us see how it's going to work. So overall, there is a lot of panic what I see. And this is a place where a lot of people will get trapped in shorting. Shorting is not an opportunity currently at this place. See, this is the same place earlier also. It has actually tested. It is trying to retest this, and this retest is something we have to take a look at this more on the positive note. And from here, I expect buying to happen. So let's see, if buying is not going to happen, then downside can increase also. But very importantly, here volumes have to increase and the buying has to come. So I am still bullish on the market, because I expect that the most of the news flows which are there is more or less over. And this is the level which I had actually talked to you people earlier also. At this level, it has to take support and move higher. And we had seen the see the on the weekly chart. If I have to see, look at the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, the thing is, okay, on the weekly chart, if you see, it is exactly a place where we had made a doji, and this see, last 2 weeks have been little bit on the positive note. This week we have come back and retested this. So from that perspective, and if you see here, this is on a weekly chart, this is a good support area. So I expect it to take support. Okay, it has to take support at this level. So this is not a place for us to look at shorting. The same thing is in the Nifty also. So if you look at Nifty, it is the same thing which is actually happening here. So the last 2 weeks have been positive. This week we have come back and retested this. So from that perspective, I expect this to hold on. This has to hold on. So on Monday, as long we sustain, so I expect either a small range to happen on Monday, or probably completely bulls are aggressively able to take the price higher. That is also perfectly fine. So but I don't expect that to happen. Probably there could be a very narrow range day on Monday. And if that happens, and then actually market starts holding on to this level. See, as long as we can hold above 17,000 and slowly start moving higher, and are able to cross this 17,300, 350 barrier, next important barrier is 17,500 to 600. So these two barriers are very important, and we need to sustain above these two barriers. Then Nifty is going to become good. And for Bank Nifty, very important for Bank Nifty is to sustain above 35,700. And after 35,700, it is very important. It has all the possibilities to actually move higher, as long we start trading above 36,500. So this is very important. It has to start trading above this 36,500. second, what is happening? Okay, anyway, so the thing is, it should be above 36,500 because this is a place uh, which it should start moving above this. Once we start moving above this, this is where actually um, markets are going to start doing better. So it's very important for Nifty to sustain above 17,300, 350, and Bank Nifty to start sustaining above 36,500. Only then they will have the confirmation that it has started to get into that reversal mode. So below this, it's going to be more on the sideways kind of a zone. And Monday is going to be more volatile according to me. But after Monday, Tuesday, I think things should start doing better. Or if China has a rate cut happening, and then we have a uh, buying interest coming back, or it starts with a gap up kind of thing, we don't know. See, anything is possible because currently what we see is all the professionals have already exited from their short positions. So there could be a lot of trap sellers who are there, which they have got trapped on this Friday. So that is something which is possible. So let's see. Until unless we don't go above these levels which I have shared with you, market is going to be sideways. There's no point in actually doing anything. Shorting is not an opportunity. Buying is the opportunity, but for buying we need confirmation. So let the confirmation come, then only look at any kind of buying opportunity. Because on Friday they have actually broken down almost every other stock very, very badly. So it's better for us to wait and watch. Let's not be in any hurry to buy anything. Not a place for us to look at that. Let it sustain this level. And then I think, see, it's definitely a good place for us to buy. But we need the confirmation because the way it has behaved on Friday is not something good. But we have seen that it has been more because of a panic and nothing else, because VIX is somewhere around 16, which means it's actually fairly okay. There's nothing big which has happened. It is mainly more because of the panic which has happened. It's mostly a reaction, which I can actually say. So any questions related to whatever we have discussed right now, you can go ahead and ask me. Otherwise, we will get ahead for the other parts of the topics. Any questions, guys? Any of you have any questions? Okay, if there's no question, then we will actually get into the next part of our recommendation, which is going to be our multi-bagger stock for this week. It's going to be UPL. Now, why UPL, how UPL, where and all, we will talk. Yeah, it is time for waiting and watching. See, currently market is definitely buy on dips, but the problem is momentum is lagging. So we still don't have that aggressiveness of the buyers, which is lagging right now, and the aggressiveness of the sellers have still not stopped. So what is required for us for the momentum to catch up is buyers have to come with aggressive force. And this is the level at which they had come earlier also. And most likely they will come back at this same level because this is the level at which it is attractive from a buyer, from a long-term buyer, from the value investor. This is definitely a good place for them. And even for the global markets also, everywhere we are at that support area. Everywhere we are at a support area. Since everywhere we are at a support area, it's more likely from here buying should happen. And if I have to see what happened last week in US market, see, S&P is almost nearby to the all-time high. It tested a new high and then actually some more selling came up. And the Nasdaq is something which actually, again, it was almost nearby to the peak. And from there, we got a good amount of sell-off. After Nasdaq came down, some amount of sell-off happened in Dow Jones and some amount of sell-off happened in the S&P also, but S&P has more or less recovered. Dow Jones is still recovering, and Nasdaq, whatever had actually happened on Friday, they have almost recovered that. So what is happening is at this place, there's some amount of say. I feel this is something like uh, before that big storm, the calmness which is there, or before something big is going to happen, some disruptions and all which will happen to mainly scare away all the retail participants. That's what has been happening currently. So they are trying to scare away everyone, and when they try to scare away everyone, they will take the markets to altogether new highs. This is something which we have seen a long time back. Every time they do this. So let us see. Still, where they will take the prices down, we don't know. As of now, we don't have a confirmation yet. But according to me, this is a place from where the reversal is bound to happen. So Monday or Tuesday, we should start getting a reversal signs. So let's wait for that and let it confirm, and then actually the trade can be initiated. Right now, nothing to be done. So UPL, let's look at UPL. So what exactly has this UPL and why it is a multi-bagger? Let us try to understand that. See, if you talk about the UPL, the solutions they are providing you, it is in terms of technology like the seed, crop protection. They have this soil and water technologies. They are doing everything which is related to the farmer. So their business is mainly related to this farming, and they are one of the market leaders currently in this particular segment. And especially in this segment, what happens is government always gives a lot of subsidies. So there's a lot of subsidy which keeps coming, and a lot of advantage which is there in this particular market, and they are the market leaders, especially in this particular segment. They are doing very good. If you look at this, they're global leader in sustainable agricultural solutions. So with 50 plus years of excellence, they have 25 R&D facilities, 43 manufacturing facility. Total revenue is around $5.2 billion. They are number one in solutions. They have around 1,400 patents which have got uh, granted, and they have presence is around 138 countries. So this is huge. So you can look at this. They have this crop protection, bio solutions, seeds, post harvest. Also, they give a lot of things. So they are doing a lot of things, especially in the farming field, and they have been profitable. And if I have to look at the overall, what do you say, the stock has been doing extremely good. Let me show you the chart of UPL so you will understand how good the chart structure is. One second. So you need to look at this in a longer term perspective. See, at short term, there is a lot of volatility and it is actually little on the downside. Okay. But that's okay. See, if you look at this particular chart, look at this. This is a fantastic chart according to what I say. The stock has, it was actually for a lot of years, it was actually somewhere around 80 rupees range. And from that, it has actually moved up currently to somewhere around 800 rupees. So 8 times it has grown in the last 10 years. So it has been doing a great job at it. Now, since it has moved a lot, there is always some amount of correction which keeps happening. So according to me, there is some more scope, it can come down. Now, according to me, the best place for us to accumulate can be somewhere around, okay, let us see here. This is a place from where it started, 740 range. Okay, this was having a lot of volume and it was not able to sustain here, which suggests us that we have to, one second, what is the low price here? One second, just a minute. Low is around 700. Okay. See, according to me, if this is going to hold, what is the low here? Yeah. According to me here, this should actually work somewhere at this level. So 600, see 650 to 700 should be the level. Somewhere here, it has actually tried taking support. See, look at this, guys. Look at this big volume. Okay. This has come at this level, which is almost at this place. Okay. So I feel any dip is a good buying opportunity anyway here. And I think here buying should emerge. So accumulation probably can happen somewhere between 650 to 700 rupees range. So any dip you are getting is a good opportunity for you to accumulate. Accumulate around 650 to 700 rupees range. So whenever you get any dip, I think this is a good place for you to start looking at accumulating it. And once you are able to do that, see, it has all the potential possibility with the structure which we are seeing here. It has all the potential possibility to go back to the previous highs and from there to make a much bigger thing. So if you're looking this from the point of view of the next 5 to 10 years, this should be able to fetch you at least 2 to 3 times of the current valuation. So somewhere it is around 650. So easily you should actually get this somewhere around 1200 to 1200 to 1800 range, or probably higher than that also. So that is something which can be expected of this, and this is doing a great job. If I have to look at the overall stock is doing good with so much of patents and other things, it's actually having a lot of monopoly kind of a business. Uh, this is a good stock for you to accumulate. So the accumulation zone, if you see the high it had made is somewhere around what price? Somewhere around 800, 860 range. So from that peak, somewhere around 900 rupees, if I have to say. So this is close to around 25-30% kind of a correction, which is a decent thing for this to happen after it has moved up quite a lot. I think it is quite fair. See, whenever it comes below 700, I think there will be buying coming in. And if we start getting a volume coming back somewhere around 700 range, or whenever it violates 700, I think that is a time where you have to start looking at acquiring. Whenever any dip is going to come, you should start looking at buying UPL. So that is my view on UPL. Any questions you have, you can actually go ahead and ask me about UPL or the stock, whatever we have actually discussed. We can go ahead and share you any other details you need about this particular stock. Any doubts?
I want to ask.
Go ahead. Who's speaking?
I'm
I'm
Frida.
Frida. Tell me,
Mrs.
Frida.
Allur.
Allur. Sorry?
Mrs.
Mrs.
Allur.
Yeah. Tell me, Allur.
Acha, is this a good time to get into the stock now?
Which stock?
UPL?
That's what I said, no? Anyway, any dip is a good opportunity. Somewhere between 650 to 700, you should start looking at offer buying.
Okay.
See, don't buy everything at one go. See, I have
No. No, I never do that. I buy it in small lots. Whenever
so that's what
market goes down, yeah.
See, I always tell this, if you want to invest, let us say 1 lakh, you split that into 3 to 4 parts, at least 3 parts, or minimum 4 or 5 parts. So let's take 20,000 you will invest when it comes down. Whenever you get any dip, you invest around 20,000. It comes down further, you invest further 20,000. So that's how you have to start looking at it. I've given you the range also. Anywhere between 650 to 700 is a good buying area, because it can go below this, but it cannot stay below this.
Okay, okay. I also have one more question. Between CDSL and CAMS, which is a better stock and what is a good entry level?
See, both are good, but to talk about entry, let us see. See, the problem with this stock, okay, this
Gone
is,
too high, no?
no, that's okay. See, that will be high only. The star structure is good. CDSL at least has a good amount of data for us. This is 85, 16. I would rather wait in CDSL because it has been a little too expensive. It's moved up too much. So I think there will be some amount of correction which can happen. See, one thing which is possible is uh, the volume, what you see here, the huge volume.
Yeah.
One second, where is this going? See, this big volume, what you are able to see here, this has come around this level. See, this level is very important for us. Okay, this is more likely not to be violated. So by any chance we get an opportunity somewhere around this level, it is going to be good. So this is
Around
somewhere,
1,000.
yeah, close to 1,000 rupees range.
Okay.
See, currently the price, according to me, is a little too expensive. So even if it goes higher, it is difficult for it to sustain higher. So whenever we come somewhere around 1,000 rupees range, I think it is a good price for us to look at buying. At this place, it's better to avoid.
Yeah, now it's too high, no? And I think this thing, when the IPO came, it was very low, no? Around 300 something, no?
And that's okay. See, what happens is when the IPO comes, there is a price discovery which is going to happen. Nobody knows what is the price which people are ready to pay. So price discovery happens. So if the institutions and the institutions specifically, they are the ones who can take the price higher. If they feel the valuation is cheaper, they will keep taking the price higher and higher. But when they see that the valuation is gone too expensive, that is the place where they will be rather exiting. I think here this is a place which they will try to protect, which is around 950 to 1,000 rupees range. So at the current level, I also see a good volume which has come here, and then prices have started coming down. So I feel we will be in this range.
I'm tracking the stock, so. And sir, about CAMS, CAMS, Computer Age Management.
One second. This is also not currently good level for buying. I think it is going to get
2,000 plus.
that's okay. But if you see the peak it had made is what? See, this doesn't have much data according for us to give any technical view.
Okay.
The new stock, 4,000 was the level it had actually gone 4,067. So if I have to look at that, possibility is it's somewhere around 2000 will come back. So 50% correction is possible in this stock because it's hardly 1 year. It has moved up quite a lot, right? So from the place it was listed, so somewhere from 1,000 rupees, it has moved almost 4 times. So there's a good amount of correction which is possible. So and the stock is already showing that. See here also there is a huge volume and the price is actually coming down.
Yeah.
Not needed for us to buy. Huge sell-off is happening in the stock. So let it settle at 2,000 rupees range. If it settles there, then probably we can look at buying. Till it is not settling, no buy.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Okay. So coming back to this, the final thing which we have to discuss is what is the swing trade for next week. So for a swing trade for next week, so let me see what actually stocks could be there. I think only the IT index is looking better at this point of time, and rest all are actually not doing that great. So almost everything has fallen down very
Yeah,
badly on this. Sorry, somebody is speaking something. Any questions? Alur, any question?
No. I think except for IT, everything was going down yesterday.
Yes. So IT is going to probably still hold for Monday. So in that case, so we may have opportunities in somewhere like, no, here also it does. IT may also not hold. It is difficult. Okay. Too much. Okay. IT. Wow. Infosys has made gap up. And now the exhaustion gap. No, I don't think it has some euphoric kind of move. Especially this is mainly because of uh, uh, this rupee has gone higher. So mainly because of that, this is happening. If this is going to sustain, then probably something is possible. Otherwise, this also can have challenges. So if you look at this, Wipro has actually moved up quite a lot, around 4% on Monday. Infosys also has done. So let's see any other stock. So these are the stocks which have actually IT has done pretty well. TCS, no. No, currently, I think we should rather wait for. I would rather wait for this. I'm not getting any good thing which I have to tell you. Last week we were expecting things to go on the upside. Things have still not done. I feel even now, I think the rate sensitives, which are our banks, in all the banking stocks, automobile stocks, cement stocks, I think they only have to do well. But anyway, right now I'll not do any recommendations because at this point of time, I want to see what happens on Monday and then decide on anything at this point of time. So because currently everything was looking very bad on Friday. So let's wait for Monday and then decide on anything. Currently, I'll not do any other recommendations for uh, next week. So currently, this is my view for next week, guys. Any other questions you have, you can feel free to ask me. Otherwise, for today, this week, I think we are done. Yeah, thank you, Halur. Yeah, anybody else has any other questions? Anything you want to ask, guys? Okay, if there's nothing else, I think we will wind up the session. Thank you very much. Happy weekend and see you then. Bye bye.